live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue. It's 11:53 a.m. in Banjul, and I am Jul Denjai. Welcome to this special edition. And the President of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, is expected to land at the Banjul International Airport anytime from now. And this is the first, it is worth noting to say that this is the first state visit that he is embarking on since his inauguration in January 7th. John Mahama is someone very pivotal as far as the relationship between Gambia and Ghana is concerned. He has contributed immensely towards the bilateral ties between Ghana and, of course, the Gambia. And today he is coming to for a one-day state's visit in the Gambia. And already we know that His Excellency President Adama Barrow is at the Banjul International Airport together with some government ministers and other members of the government to welcome His Excellency John Dramani Mahama of Ghana, who is newly elected. And he is the 14th president of Ghana, and he is 66 years old. Let us just dive into his biography before actually engaging my colleague Ousmane Jatta, who is at the Banjul International Airport, to actually tell us what is happening there, the mood of the mood there at the Banjul International Airport before the arrival of President John Mahama. John Mahama is a member of the National Democratic Congress, and he is a member of Parliament for Bola Bamboy from 1997 to 2009, and of course he served as Deputy Minister for Communication between 1997 and 1998 before becoming the substantive Minister for Communications in 1998. He played a very pivotal role at the Ghana's National Assembly before subsequently becoming a Minister for Communications in the country. And he was also the first Vice President to assume the presidency following the death of his predecessor, who happens to be former President Arthur Mills. And from there he became the first head of state of Ghana to actually have been born after Ghana's independence in 1957. John Mahama is a very important figure, not just in Ghana, but across Africa and West Africa at large. He was elected in the December 2012 election to serve as a full-term president, because after the death of his predecessor, he was actually elected as president, but he was fully elected as president of Ghana in 2012 to actually serve a full term. And he contested also for the election for a second term in the 2016 presidential election, but lost to the New Patriotic Party candidate Nana Akufo-Addo, who was there and as president of Ghana. This made him the first president in the history of Ghana to not have won a consecutive second term, which is very, very important. But before going into details into his biography, like I promised you earlier, we are engaging Ousmane Jatta, my colleague, who is at the Banjul International Airport, to tell us the mood at the airport right now and what are we to expect before the arrival of President John Mahama. Ousmane Jatta, good morning. Ousmane?
Good morning, Gilda. Thanks for having me on the program.
Ousmane, you're currently at the Banjul
Gilda,
International Airport.
Thanks for having me on the program.
So what is the current mood there at the Banjul International Airport?
Thank you so much, Julde. Currently at the Banjul International Airport, it's a busy traffic. We just witnessed the departure of the TUI flight from the Banjul International Airport, and equally as well the arrival of His Excellency President Adama Barrow, who is on standby to witness, to receive the President John Dramani Mahama from Ghana. So currently everyone is on standby. The Gambia Armed Forces and the police, the army band are on standby waiting for the arrival of the president. but we have received communication from the Director of Press that there will be a delay of some minutes. He was supposed to arrive by 11:45, but there is delay in his arrival, and currently the delegation and the president they are all waiting for him for the time being. Probably around 12:15, we will be expecting his flight to arrive at the Banjul International Airport. But currently, as we speak, we have got various dignitaries ranging from senior government officials, ministers, and key advisors of the president are all on standby, waiting for the arrival of the president of Ghana, John Mahama.
So aside from His Excellency President Adama Barrow, what other senior government officials are there?
So, like I mentioned, we have got the presence of the security here. That is the men from the Gambia Armed Forces, the police band, and equally as well other dignitaries like councillor, like the Minister of Foreign Affairs equally as well is in attendance. The Minister of Defense, they are all on the ground making sure that they receive the Ghanaian President John Mahama.
I did mention that part of his visit is actually to strengthen bilateral ties between the Gambia and, of course, Ghana. But can you give us a brief explanation as to what his purpose is? Because this is the first country he is visiting after his inauguration.
Sure, it's quite significant for the Gambia that President Mahama, this is going to be his first visit, his first official visit following his re-election in December. So I think it's important, like you mentioned, with regards to trade, they'll be discussing about the Gambia-Ghana relations, how to solidify it, how to enhance it to the next level. So that is going to be top of the discussion at the State House following their departure from the Banjul International Airport. As we know, we have got a good number of Ghanaians in Gambia who are engaged in business and are also in other areas of contributing to the other areas of the economy, like in education, in health, and in the legal fraternity. So it's a very important meeting for the Gambian leader, because they will discuss a lot with regards to strengthening the bilateral relations, the already existing bilateral relations of both nations, to make sure that their citizens are empowered to some extent. Because as we know, Ghana is a country that is a high producer of products, and discussing issues with regards to trade, I think it's something that is very critical and crucial for the Gambia. One would expect that they will discuss about ways of making sure that they would bring in like initiatives that are already existing in Ghana, that with regards to business, making sure that Gambian businesses are empowered, and equally as well setting up like producing factories that could produce a lot with regards to like supporting the business sector.
So Usman, it will be interesting to hear from the Gambia's Minister of Foreign Affairs as to you know, how the areas of collaboration as far as the President John Mahama is concerned.
Sure, we will do that. For the time being, they are at the presidential lounge, waiting for the scheduled time for the arrival of the Ghanaian president. Like I said earlier, there has been a delay in the arrival of the president, but probably we would assume around 10 minutes or 15 minutes time, we would be expecting that he would arrive at the Banjul International Airport. But as per the scheduled time, it was 11:45, and that has already passed, and we are expecting that he would arrive sometime in 12.
Before then, let us now discuss. I was briefly talking about the biography of President Mahama and his contribution ranging from, as a member of parliament to becoming an information minister and to vice president and subsequently to president after the person of his predecessor, who is Atta Mills. And let us look at the contribution and, the impact he has had during his presidency.
Quite important, Julte. From his biography, it's quite direct that Mahama is an active politician, and equally as well, he was from an active family that were engaged in politics. That is why from 1996, Mahama was involved in politics. He served as NP for the Bamboy constituency, where he served from 1996 to 2000, and in 2000 he was re-elected again. And from 2000 to 2004, he was also re-elected to serve them. So he has a good political presence, and he was active in politics throughout. And equally as well, from there, as a member of the NDC, that is the National Democratic Congress Party of Ghana, to some extent, he took part in the elections with the late Ghanaian president, that is Atta Mills. But to some extent, he lost, and Atta Mills was pronounced president while he was elected as vice president at the time. So before the guy passed away, before late President Atta Mills completed his term in 2012, he passed on at the latter part of his tenure, and Mahama was elevated to his position. So that was how he joined the presidency, and he was later elected as a president of Ghana, where he served from 2012 to 2017. But from there, during the 2016 presidential election, he lost to former President Nana Akufo-Addo. So his bio tells a lot about his activeness in politics, and he has been a contributor in Ghanaian politics, and he has stood for democracy and empowering the people of his constituency.
Usman, we are tracking the flight right now where His Excellency President Mahama is, and he is at the source of Senegal. He will soon be in the Gambia. That is the flight there on the screen. We are tracking it, and he is on Bombardier Challenger from Accra. That is the flight, and we are currently tracking it. So very soon, any moment from now, His Excellency should land at the Banjul International Airport. But like you mentioned, he played a very pivotal role as far as building ties with other African countries are concerned, but also notable achievements have been registered in terms of infrastructure development, in ensuring that there is quality education. And recently, during his inaugural speech, we heard him mention about the initiatives of putting Ghana first as his slogan, Ghana first, and to revive the economy, but not just that, but to fight corruption and create job opportunities for Ghanaian people. And he also did talk about the fact that bringing the private sector on board, the SMEs, bringing them on board and then empowering them to be able to create more job opportunities for the people of Ghana.
Quite interesting, Julte. I think it's significant, aside from trade like education. Ghana has got a very productive. Yeah, we are on that trajectory, towards enhancing our education sector. We have seen the improvement from the University of the Gambia, equally as well the conversion of the Gambia College into the new University of Education. So I think it's quite significant. His visit is quite significant for the Gambia. Aside from trade, they may most likely discuss issues related to education, and they will look at around like we talked about a way forward towards upgrading, towards the enhancement of the country's education sector, which I think it's key for the country. And most importantly, like I said, in the area of trade, it would help a lot when it comes to solidifying the Gambia-Ghana trade relationship, because we have also got a thriving business society. If you have noticed, there is a huge expansion in businesses in the country since 2017, so which is a very remarkable achievement for the country. So for the fact that Ghana is a high producing country, you know, they produce a lot of things, you know, I think it would help. It will go a long way in supporting trade and education in the country. Equally as well, in the energy sector, they have got their energy sector is also thriving compared to the past years when it had some challenges. So I think it's a very crucial visit. The Gambian leader. But like you mentioned, we would expect the president to arrive anytime from now, because that is the communication we received, that his flight will land at the Banjul International Airport sometime around 12:15, and we are getting close to that. But like I alluded in the past, the men of the Gambia Armed Forces are all on waiting for the arrival to receive president. But equally as well, the president is also waiting, patiently waiting at the VIP lounge at the Banjul International Airport ahead of the arrival of President John Mahama of Ghana.
Okay, Usman, we will expect you to actually engage the Minister of Foreign Affairs to actually give us an overview of the Gambia-Ghana relations, and what are we to expect as far as you know, the re-election of President Mahama is concerned. Like you mentioned, you know, Ghana have been producing, unlike the Gambia, Ghana has been producing a lot of things like gold, cocoa, timber, oil, and, you know, agricultural products. And we know that Gambia focuses a lot in terms of its agricultural produce. You know, it is like the backbone of the economy, and it plays a very important role. So having Gambia and Ghana to actually further strengthen their bilateral ties in the area of agriculture it will be a very good initiative for both countries to leverage on. I mean, both countries have very important cordial relationship. Aside from that, also, we need not to forget that the Ghanaian economic contingency, they are here, and, you know, we have Ghanaian troops here in the Gambia. They've been here since 2017, and they've been contributing a lot in terms of education, the health sector. We've seen them make a lot of donations as far as helping the underprivileged families in the country are concerned.
Quite significant, Jude. Like you mentioned, Ghana has got a thriving economy from education to agriculture, and I think it has a lot in common with the Gambia. You know, they are also working towards making sure that, you know, the economy thrives as much in terms of thriving when it comes to agriculture. And I think that is one of the key areas they could also discuss about, you know, aside from the business part of it, because it is as far as bilateral relationship is concerned, you know, it will cover all of those aspects, and equally as well security, like you mentioned, the presence of the economic contingent, the Ghana contingent as well. So I think it's quite important and significant. But Julia, now what I am seeing is like the flight would be here shortly, because ministers are already on standby, and presidential advisors as well, and the Chief of Defense Staff. They are all coming out from the VVIP lounge of the Banjul International Airport. So it's like the big moment would soon come, and actually what is the Banjul International Airport, President Barrow is expected to John all the latest national some of the by the various stakeholders, all up. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Defense, they are all on standby, including.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. It's great to have you. This is Julia?
Yes, Usman.
Here we have the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is also on standby, who is part of the delegation. Honorable, could you take us through the importance of today's conference?
Well, we are happy to be here to welcome the newly elected President of Ghana. We had the opportunity to participate in his inauguration. I think the symbolism behind this visit is very important. That shows the strength of the relationship between our two countries. To work in closely with him at the bilateral level and at the regional level. You know that our region is faced with a lot of challenges, but together I believe that if we put our heads together, we'll be able to find a solution in the best interest of the region.
In terms of relations, like we know Ghana is has a thriving economy in terms of trade, in terms of agriculture. Are we expecting the signing of any relations or any form of agreements?
No, this is a visit, a familiarization tour of the new president. That will come at a later date. It's just to implement some of the agreements already signed between Ghana and the Gambia, but that will be done at the technical level. But this visit is a family visit, it's a friendly visit, it's a brother visiting his brother. And as I said, the symbolism behind it is very, very important.
And interestingly, we have noticed a trend. Most of the sitting presidents would always choose Gambia as their first point of contact. Could you further expand on this?
Well, it's important. It's showing that Gambia is occupying its rightful place. You know, I always say that there is no small country. You make yourself small or big depending on your attitude. And I think in the international arena, we are doing a great job with all humility. We have our mark, and then our voice is being listened to.
Thank you so much. Julia, that was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is also on standby on the grounds. We have other stakeholders here, and we have here the Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you take us through the importance of this day? We know that as the Ghanaian president is about to arrive, and we know the economic contingent is here, and the Ghanaian soldiers are part of it. What does this mean for you?
Thank you very much for the question. Ghana is a very important partner to the Gambia. As you know, we all belong to the ECOWAS space, and traditionally we are all former British colonies. A lot of our senior statesmen were educated in Ghana, and we're given the cultural affinity with Ghana and the temperament of the Ghanaians. I think this is very important. The president coming to see us, probably one of his first foreign trips, to see not only the Gambians, but the deployment of the Ghanaians is a significant step. It goes to consolidate the importance they, as well as us, attach to our bilateral relationship. And from the military point of view, we have some of our officers being trained in fine Ghanaian institutions like the defense and staff colleges and the other academies, which is also very significant, and it goes to build the bilateral military-to-military relations.
Are we expecting any signing of agreements, most like security, in terms of security, when it comes to security areas?
Not at this moment, because I think this is just a courtesy visit, but certainly we are all members of the ECOWAS space, as I said earlier on, and there is a lot of bilateral agreements within ECOWAS that we are parties to, and beyond it, if there is a specific request from them, we are open to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was the Chief of Defense Staff, and it's like the big moment has just come, and it's like the flight of President John Mahama has just landed at the Banjul International Airport, and anytime from now, he'll be received by His Excellency President Adama Barrow. This is the big moment, and this is what everyone has been waiting for, the arrival of President John Mahama from Ghana. This is his first official state visit, and he chose Gambia. Quite interesting and a historic moment for the Gambia. It's a new day and a new moment for the country. Like alluded earlier, they'll be discussing, he would move with he'll be received by President Barrow at the airport, where they would have to make some engagements at the VIP lounge shortly before he moves to the Coco Ozone Resort, then to the State House, where they would have a tete-a-tete discussion around trade relations. It's quite a significant moment for the Gambia, for the fact that he's here. The president of Ghana chose Gambia as his first point of contact, and just to reiterate on the biography of President Dramani Mahama, he was part of the National Democratic Congress, and we have John Dramani Mahama is a member of the National Democratic Congress. Interestingly, NDC. Mahama was member of Parliament for Boli Bombay from 1997 to 2009, and served as Deputy Minister for Communications between 1997 and 1998. That is his flight approaching the flight in the ash collar. And he was elected in December 2012 election to serve as full-term as a president. He contested and he was re-elected. That is his flight. It has already arrived. The president is also anytime from now. He will be received by the president, who is already on his way. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Presidential Advisor Mamadou Sabali, the Minister of Defense Sering Modunjai, Lieutenant Colonel Mamad Ocham is also on standby. They are all on standby, and we have just seen that any time from now the president would be coming down. His security have already landed, and it's quite a significant moment at the Banjul International Airport here, where we're bringing you all the latest details about the arrival of Ghana's President John Mahama, who will be landing shortly. He's the one here, and he's coming from the private jet. And here we have President Adama Barrow going to receive him shortly, anytime from now.
So that's His Excellency President John Mahama, who just landed at the Banjul International Airport, like my colleague Usman Janta mentioned. Any moment from now, he will shake hands with His Excellency President Adama Barrow, and like he mentioned, senior government officials are there, ministers, to welcome His Excellency President John Mahama. And like the Foreign Affairs Minister mentioned, is a familiarization tour, a visit rather, to the Gambia. And right now they are not expecting much as far as bilateral relations are concerned, but it's a familiarization visit to actually come to his counterpart, who is President Adama Barrow, to familiarize themselves and then see some of the agreements that were signed to see whether they can be renewed, and the areas of intervention and cooperation between Ghana and the Gambia. Like we mentioned earlier, Ghana has been producing gold, cocoa, and they are also producing a lot of agricultural products, and they've been exporting it to the other countries, including the Gambia. And we know that the continental Africa Continental Free Trade Area is actually here, and it has not been doing well as far as trade between the sub-region or Africa is concerned. But hopefully this visit would really yield a positive outcome as far as trade between the Gambia and Ghana in particular is concerned. And we know that Ghanaians are really optimistic. There are a lot of challenges, and there is renewed hope as far as the people of Ghana are concerned. The presidency is going to be faced with the issue of corruption. We know that economic crisis also. Ghana currently, as of 2023, they have a debt of $51.69 billion. So that's the national anthem. We'll be right back.
Is now it's a historic moment from the Banjul International Airport. bringing you all the latest details about the arrival of Ghana's president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who just landed at the airport for his official visit. Now they are inspecting the parade with his Gambian counterpart, President Barrow, who will receive him at the State House as well, where they would have a tete-a-tete discussion on ways of finding ways to enhance, solidify the Gambia-Ghana relations, which has been on for quite a long time, quite a significant.
After your inspection, may I have your permission to carry on with the parade, Your Excellency?
Now, President Dramani and President Barrow are heading to the VVIP lounge at the airport, where they will spend some time before they proceed to the State House, where they're supposed to have a tete-a-tete meeting. Both leaders, and now he is now greeting the Ghanaian community in the Gambia, who are also on standby to welcome their president. Kalia moy nyame rek bi mbale Banjul International dame miyalan ko ning Ghana la president o president Barrow nataka wole jia keta moti miyalan ko ay Gambia de anata a folota Gambia le tumo min ya tombong December 2020 sangola bidung anata Gambia pro aning banko nyatan ko president Adama Barrow is a sino nyamen ye Gambening Ghana la nyatota discourse kulal to min miyalan ko milbe dending trade la karoto agriculture anin ku kotan dol nyalan ko abe banko fulol fongo nafala tata president ibita kan VVIP lounge also. So as we see, that's President Barrow and Mahama heading to the VIP lounge at the airport, and from there they will take to have further discussions. They're still heading to the VIP lounge after having a short engagement with the Ghanaian community in the Gambia. I think it's quite a historic moment, and like other presidents, the Gambia is always the first point of contact. We have seen in the case of the Senegalese president, Diomaye Faye, who also came through, who had his first official visit to the Gambia, and his prime minister also as well, like his country, Sall, Ablaye Wade, all had their first engagements in the Gambia. So I think it's quite significant for the Gambia, for the fact that it's going to enhance the relationship between Ghana and Gambia, who have a lot in common in terms of education, trade, agriculture, and so forth. It's quite a significant moment. This is not.
Yeah, that is President Adama Barrow and his counterpart entering the VVIP lounge at the Banjul International Airport. Like Usman mentioned, it's a historic day for the fact that this is the first time that His Excellency President John Mahama is actually visiting a state after his inauguration in Ghana. We know that he had an audience with community stakeholders, members of the oil producing sector, and he also had an engagement with the Kantamanto market traders, following the fire incident there that actually broke out in Ghana on the 2nd of this month, and which was a devastating fire. And he gave assurances that the government is going to do whatever it takes to actually support the people of Ghana. So from the first day of his, when he resumed work, he started having engagement with the chiefs also, because according to him, chiefs played a very important role as far as the environment is concerned. He's seen a lot of lapses as far as, the powers that are vested on the chiefs are concerned. But according to him, his government is going to work hand in hand with the chiefs, members of the committee in Ghana, to actually ensure that they have the power to work directly with the grassroots level as far as the environment is concerned. We also know that Ghana has been having a lot of issues in as much as the economy is thriving, but they have been having a lot of issues. Their current debt is at $51.69 billion. We have, the country is faced with corruption, the country is faced with poverty rate, the country is faced with environmental issues, and a whole lot that President Mahama and her Vice President, who is Nana Jane, are supposed to actually tackle. This is a historic moment, like Usman and I mentioned, and it's a familiarization visit, but we're expecting that from this visit a lot of other bilateral relations between Ghana and the Gambia would be strengthened, and then to ensure that both countries benefit. Like I mentioned earlier, the African Continental Free Trade Area has been here for the longest time, but it has not been fully implemented by African countries. But hopefully the relationship between Ghana and the Gambia, this will be a starting point as far as trade, security, education, and other important sectors are concerned between people, Ghana and the Gambia. And recently we've seen issues of the Ghanaian nationals in the Gambia here who are at the verge of statelessness. Hopefully that issue also will be tackled as far as this renewed bilateral ties between the two heads of state are concerned, and the issue of also the economic contingency in the Gambia here, and where also Ghanaian soldiers are. We are hoping that he is going to visit, in as much as is a day's visit. We are hoping that he will also, or the two heads of states are going to tackle issues of that nature. Nana played a very important role in the 2016 political impasse in the Gambia. Mahama actually was part of the delegation that came in the Gambia here to mediate between the former president Yahya Jammeh, who refused to step down following his defeat in the 2016 presidential election. He played a very important role as far as that is concerned. So we will just go back there to see some of the footages to know what is actually happening. Aside from the mediation team that he was part of, he also supported, democracy and good governance when he was president, and even after stepping down of the presidency, he played a very important role to ensure that there is that, democracy and the rule of law in Africa, including the Gambia. This is through the speeches that he makes and also diplomatic engagements. Mahama also played a very important role in terms of strengthening economic and diplomatic ties, during his presidency and after his presidency. What is next now for the Gambia and Ghana in terms of bilateral relations? We just hope that it will be a fruitful engagement, and then that both nations are going to benefit meaningfully as far as trade is concerned, security, education, but overall how this partnership is going to be to help Gambia and Ghana, but also the wider Africa, to leverage on the opportunities between countries, and then to ensure that both countries improve in terms of infrastructure, in terms of economic development, but also in terms of education, quality healthcare delivery, and also tapping on the existing good policies and programs of Ghana and the Gambia to ensure that both countries developed and move forward. Like Usman Jatta mentioned, my colleague there who is at the Banjul International Airport, President Mahama and President Adama Barrow will have a tete-a-tete discussion at the State House in Banjul, and from there, you know, he will head back to Ghana. That will mark the end of his visit in the Gambia. It's a day's visit, and like we heard from the Foreign Affairs Minister, it's a familiarization visit, and hopefully we will have more visits of this nature where bilateral relations and agreements are going to be signed between the President of the Gambia and of course the Ghanaian President, John Dramani Mahama. Well, viewers, this is all we have for you in this special edition of, you know, the arrival of the Ghanaian President, John Dramani Mahama, in the Gambia, and this is the first state visit he is having after his inauguration on the 7th of January. This is all we have for you. Do join us again next time for another edition. Thank you very much, and do enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the rest of our programs. It's a bye from me and the rest of the team.